seminar of this semester. So first up we have Wen Chen, who's a third year PhD student, second year PhD student in computer science here. And she's going to be presenting a practice talk for her paper presentation next week at CHI. Joint work with her and Norman Sue and some person named David Crandall. So really looking forward to seeing your talk. Thanks very much.
Okay, then I think I don't need to introduce myself then. Okay, my topic is about understanding the aesthetic evolution of websites. It's towards a series of design periods. Oh. So, it's a screenshot from Google Arts and Culture. We can see it builds a comprehensive portfolio for arts. It has modern art, abstract arts, the art history and the artist's works classified into several categories based on their time periods or their special qualities. Same thing also happens for other devices, like this one. It's Bookstone collection for input and interactive devices. All those portfolios build this comprehensive stuff for those designs. It enables the critics and the historians to compare and contrast the art pieces according to their particular qualities and styles. Moreover, this kind of portfolio could help our current designers. For example, the picture on the left is a painting work from Baroque period, and our current designers get some inspiration from the old design from the Baroque period to get their current get into their current clothes design. For example, this one in 2012 by Dawes and Gardner. Even though the portfolio is so useful in many cases, many HCI systems so far has no or very little reference to their past works. Same thing happens for web designs. Even though the web has undergone 27 years of change, they lack of any theories to describe its evolutions. What we have done for this work, we put forward a notion called design periods for websites. We hope it can be a groundwork for understanding how web design evolves. Once we have the notion of design periods, we can use it to search for web design with similar styles. Also, create the new styles that refashion the past designs. Or study the spread of web designs using the portfolios. Moreover, it can benefit the social scientists. They can use it to study the social contexts and the values reflected by the designs. In this talk, I will first go to introduction, the session we built to get the information we need for the design periods. Then I will introduce the key markers of web design periods. After that, I will go to introduce the drivers of web design periods. Then finally, I end up with the global design periods we found from our dataset. So the interaction design criticism session is a method based on humanistic approach. It's very useful for some unwell-defined questions. It get lots of practitioners in their domains and ask their opinions and get their knowledges. Okay, we have, for this study, we clone maybe 9 websites in past more than 10 years and make a poster for each website in the order of the time order. Then we show those posters to our experts to ask them to speak out whatever they think. For example, the history they know for some websites or the interface qualities they think about those web designs in different time. This is a sample poster for White House. We can see I list the designs for the websites in the order of time, and if there's no available website in that time period, I put no data there. From this session, we first can ask what are the key markers of web design periods. It means what makes a design different with others. There are 3 key markers we found from this study. First is the information architecture. It includes the navigation bar, search bar, and the components like the highlight components. The second, which is visual flavor, it includes the color schema, the layout templates, and the visual qualities. The third is the medium combinations. It's a combination of the text, video, and the images. Because of time limits, I only introduce the competition between the navigation bar and search bar, and the color schema in visual flavor, and something about the medium combination. So what is information architecture model? When I mention it, we think the design period is driven by changing the navigation models. The web elements give cues to the intended way to observe information and navigate in it. 5 of our experts in the study think the information architecture is the most important key markers that in the design periods. The most interesting we found in information architecture model is the competition between the navigation bar and the search bar. The relative prominence of these 2 elements influence the changes in the nature of the website contents and the user expectations. Like the quote I list here is from a web designer. He said he don't care the content show up on the main page. He used to look at some recommendation informations on the YouTube, but right now he never look at them. He just used the search function to search what he want to watch, and after that he watch, not before. It just indicates the expectation change of users. Here I give the example of the transition. This is a screenshot from IMDb in 2002. You can see on the top it's a navigation bar, but maybe you can even notice the search bar without, if I don't give a black box there. The search bar is on the left. But then when we come to 2007, we can see the search bar relatively become much larger compared maybe 5 years ago, and it moved to the top of the web page, make it more eye-catching. And then goes to 2012, the search bar become much larger compared to the navigation bar. When we put those conversations together, we can see a clear change in the information architecture models. And it happens almost in all websites. The next key marker is a visual flavor. It contains the color schema, the layout templates, and the visual element quality. I only introduce the color schema here because of the time limits. This is screenshots from Bloomberg in 2004 and 2008. We can see the 2 designs use quite totally different color schemas. And when I ask our experts to give some names to the design periods for different websites, our experts usually give some color-related names for different design periods. For example, the left one of our experts think it can be called as the blue period, and the right one can be called the medium consumer black. So why the color schema can be a key marker? The UX designer, one of our experts, give a good explanation. Even though color is not an emphasis, We all know the content is the emphasis, but color can highlight the content and borders and add an emphasis on it. That's why the color schema is very important. The third key marker is a medium combination. It's a combination of text, image, and videos. This web developer, our expert, mentioned design early 2000s. There only contains text links. There's no more actual information on the web page. But later then, the pictures, icons are brought in the web page to appeal users. And right now, there are more videos on most of websites, and people even don't read the text on the main page. Here I give an example still from Bloomberg, which is web design 2002, 2007, 2013. And the most left one, we can see, even though there's some small icons, but the picture only serves the decorative purpose. The information only covered by the text. And then goes to 2007. We can see this image starts show up to highlight some prominent news on the website. Then goes to 2013. There are much more images on the website and much larger images on the website, and also there are some videos on the website to carry. After we get those key markers of web design periods, we want to ask, why did those key markers change across time? What led to the design period? So that's from here we start to ask the drivers of web design period. We can find 4 reasons for drivers of web design periods. The first is the information density, the second is technological evolution, the third is the company strategies, and the fourth is the design fashions. Here I only introduce the first 3 of the drivers. The first reason is quite obvious. It's because of information density. Everyone can observe that information has become much richer and denser than 10 years ago. If we still use our old design in 10 years ago, user can get lost because those information is not well organized. The web developer gives a good explanation for the transition from the navigation to the search bar. He said the menus implicitly are structured as a tree. It can be a long path from the main page to the destination page. So then the search bar has to be show up, because search bar can help users just directly jump to their destination page. The second reason is the technological evolutions. It includes the hardware evolutions and the web evolutions. I list the timeline for those important technology changes. For example, around 2008, the 10 gigabytes network became quite common across the world. Then this faster network make the high resolution images and videos possible. Similarly, the smartphone come into our daily life around 2010. After that, people start to browse the website on their mobile phone. So the response is become very necessary for most of them. And 5 of our experts mentioned the web evolutions can be the most distinguished reasons for the design period transition. We have 3 web developers mentioned they ever use the web templates to propagate or develop the new websites. So the web templates make some particular markers propagated across our network. This is an example for the web templates. It's a very popular web template around 2010. The left is a web design for Cisco, and the right is a web design for Slack. Slack is an education website from Stanford. We can see the large banner images is on the middle top position, and they always use the footers on the website. They always have some logos on the top. It's just a very common template at that time. The third reason is a company strategies. We know for some commercial websites, the web design always serves a marketing purpose. It promotes the products in a prominent position. Also, sometimes they put third-party advertisements on their main page. MSN give a good example for these drivers. The left is the design from 1999. At that time, MSN is an online service provider. But then goes to 2004. MSN become a part of Microsoft Interactive Media Group. If you still remember the other Microsoft products, you can notice that the MSN color schema is always changed, followed by all other Microsoft products. After we get the key markers, after we have asked for the drivers of the web design periods, we want to know whether there are some global design periods. We want to get some global design periods that reflects the periods across all of our websites and also the broader web. We are sure that there are some global design periods. For example, here the screenshots, the left one is from MSN in 2012, the left one is from AOL in 2012. We can certainly see there are lots of aesthetic feelings sharing between them. And also, we notice that some medium websites tend to be more progressive compared to the government and education websites. Here, we summarize 4 distinguished global web design periods. The first period happened in late 1990s. Most of our experts call it rudimentary, simplistic, informational. Because in that period, there are lack of serial of web designs, and also the website only offers informational purpose. And some of our experts think the design in that period just like the front page of the newspaper. Then come to the next period, which our experts call it kills or rise of images. In that period, the web design, some principle of web design starts to show up, even though there are lots of building attempts during that time periods, like overly use some elements, overly use the color schemas, or make some images just unbalanced. Then the third period, which happened around 2009, some of our experts call it cinematic or formative. In that period, Web 2.0 come into our life. So it means the web technology totally changed and improved a lot. The high resolution of the images, videos showing up start showing up in the websites. And at that time, this kind of templates, the large banner, is very popular for all kinds of websites. And after 2012, the fourth design period comes. And some of our experts call it sci-fi or flag design periods. At that time, the websites already built a very clear information architecture model. And also, even though we cannot see it in the screenshots, the adaptive UI, responsive UI is developed for most of websites. So in summary, to develop the notion of design periods, we found the key markers that make the design periods of website. Design periods. Firstly is the information architecture. Second is the visual flavor. The third is the medium combinations. Then we also ask the drivers for the new design periods. It includes the increased information density, the technological evolution, the shifting company strategies, and the design fashions. And then right now we are asked whether we can automatically recognize those design periods and whether we can detect those visual features automatically meanwhile. This is our ongoing work. Thank you, and any questions?
Any questions?
Hi.
Hi. So, what was the reason behind choosing the URLs that for the study? Like, was there any?
We mainly have two reasons. We hope to find some websites that has long histories, so we can study it, and also we crawl those websites from Internet Archive, and some network is not well maintained in Internet Archive, but LL, I mean, it doesn't miss many images in the archive.
Thank you.
Questions? Questions would be super helpful because people have questions at the conference, and so it's good to have practice answering.
How did you cluster the design periods in 4 different design periods? Is it some automatic process, or did you do it just by seeing the snapshots?
For this study, we ask our experts to divide the design periods and summarize them. They roughly give these 4 design periods based on those websites. We just give the summary here.
So is it just by studying the history of web design, or is it just by the appearance of the websites? How did the expert did that? Did they use some metadata for the clustering, or did they just did the clustering with the visual patterns of the website?
First, our experts have some more than 5 years of work experience as maybe web developer, web designers, or some artists in their fields. So they have some knowledge to characterize those web design. And for this study, we just ask them to look at the screenshots and use their knowledge, combine these two to classify the web design periods.
So how many experts did you say that was?
Roughly 12, I think.
12.
Yes.
So I wonder whether they all kind of agreed on those 4 periods, or
Not really. They have different opinions because they have different focus. One think the color makes some role, but some think the technology is the most important. But
the designers versus the programmers, presumably.
but then overall, they still have these 4 different periods.
And these, I didn't quite get these markers. Is this something that you defined, or they came up with?
They came up with the criterions that to decide a design period.
Okay.
Like the metrics of a design.
Okay.
So in other words, they looked at these posters that showed like the trajectory or the history over time, and then we just asked them a bunch of questions like, if you had to divide these into a couple different periods, what would the periods be? And then sort of through looking at the commonalities between the 12, we identified these 4 particular periods that seem to reoccur a lot. But we didn't say to people, there are 4 periods, find them. And we didn't define these markers ahead of time. These were things that sort of just came up in the discussion that people said, oh, I see, yeah, whatever. The ratio of media is just
Would you say that there's now a 5th generation starting with flat design as well as websites on which for the entire screen there's some kind of a small video playing? And would you consider that to be a new period starting right now?
I don't really get this question.
You classified these as 4
Mhm.
periods from the start of. Would you say this is some kind of a new period, the onset of a new period right now? With if you see Amazon, there's a model which shows your dress by rotating. Then there are some, I think, Airbnb or I think even IU site, if I'm not wrong. So what happens is that the whole page is filled with an image or a small animation, a video. I'm not sure if I'm putting it in the right words.
Can you maybe show the 4 categories again? Okay,
So I think he's saying that he's just wondering if you see that there's sort of a 5th generation kind of emerging right now, and because of the recent trend towards like really big, I guess it's like a really single big image or single video that sort of fills the whole screen. Do you think there's something new emerging there, or is that a continuation of this condensation sci-fi flat period?
There should be some big changes, but I'm not sure whether we can include them into different design periods. And because we don't have data after maybe 2012, I really cannot give this kind of conclusion. But we can see this kind of changes in websites actually.
It's kind of a good question, Mike. If you were alive during the end of the Baroque period, would you have realized that there was a new artistic movement coming, or is it only something you can see in retrospect? I don't know.
it might be, so maybe the websites that you're showing might be a little biased towards being news websites and so on, because those are the ones that are existing the longest. Because they probably still have this Bloomberg design, whether, for instance, academic websites or websites that trying to, as opposed to give you a lot of condensed information, sell you some idea of a beautiful campus and whatnot, are going more towards the direction that you described currently.
That's possible. Our data set is not large, and we try our best to cover our websites into several categories. Like we also have the education website, which is Slack. Slack is a website for Stanford, and some media websites, some news websites, also the government.
It is kind of interesting that just like the way that when you talk to like art historians about art, they talk about how like different periods were reactions against other periods. Like, you know, Impressionistic was this reaction against the overly whatever realistic things that had come before, and this rejection of that and all of this. Like people in this study sort of mentioned similar things where they were like, yeah, people were so they wanted to sort of reject like the cluttered kind of
Design.
Right.
design that had become popular, and so they're sort of rejecting all of that with these single images and single videos that fill the screen. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of interesting how that works.
Could user, like the common user information be added to this? Would that make any difference to the periods? Was that considered? Like these were all from the experts.
Yes.
So was like the number of hits on the web pages considered, like how the users reacted to these changes. How was it received? Like how were the changes received by the users? Because ultimately it's
just
for the
it's quite continuous. I mean, the web design change is quite continuous, and how those users receive those changes.
I
Sorry.
think she's saying that we here interviewed only experts, and she's wondering like if it would be useful to somehow incorporate feedback or opinions of like regular web users as well.
It will be, but our experts, meanwhile, still users of web page and our experts may have more knowledge in different areas, so I think they are more fit in our study, and they can provide more information compared to other ordinary users.
All right.
Maybe just to comment on what you said. I think the interesting thing though about looking at the evolution of websites as opposed to the evolution of almost any other art, like I don't know, paintings, is that this, I would argue, it's mostly driven by changes in technology, as opposed to just on an artistic level. Right? I mean, when people started painting more expressionistic, that's not because they suddenly had an amazing new tool brush that they didn't have before.
But it's still a reason for art evolutions.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, this is first design period is okay. There's no CSS. You don't even have the means to structure the website properly, and also nobody has fast internet, so nobody wants to see anything but text. It's just not a thing, right? Then all of a sudden people get faster internet, so you can load some images. You're slowly getting the means of structuring your website because CSS is invented. Early 2000s, people get now fast internet, so you don't care that much about figures being small. We can put small figures in. We can even start embedding videos. Next design period, people use more than just a computer to browse the internet. So you have to have different devices with different inputs like touch screens. So now everybody then just adjusts their websites to incorporate that. I would argue that the interesting thing about how websites develop, I think, is that, the technology of how people interact with them changes how they're supposed to be interacted with more so than anything else.
Although then I guess one related question is like, to what extent the features that are baked into CSS, for instance, did they choose to bake into CSS because of the fact that there were certain designs that were becoming popular?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure, to some extent.
Yeah, no, but that's not that's not arguing against your point. I think it's interesting that there's this really tight connection here between the technology in a way that maybe isn't there as much for traditional art.
But still some similarity showed.
And it shows how people get less patience, right? I thought that was a really interesting point with the website used to be basically tree structured things where you would click on until you find the page you're interested in. But you don't want that anymore, right? You don't even type in a URL anymore and are ready to click through a navigation, right? Once you have to do that, you're already dissatisfied. Which 10 years ago would not be a problem, right? You want to at most Google it and have Google give you directly this information. And if not, the website should have a search bar and give you directly that information.
Yeah, I agree.
People, it's less from, oh, I'm browsing the internet, how exciting, look how I can click through this website just give me the information I need.
All right, we should really I mean, Everyone remember how ugly that White House site used to be?
It's amazing, right? If you see these old websites, it's almost like
Really? I remember at the time though, it was so exciting because the flag was the
animated GIF.
You would hit like rippling. And then the other thing is, this seems so super amazing. You would go, and depending on the time of day, it would either show the White House like at night illuminated,